She's brave. I'm not sure our people are ready for this big of a change. Can you believe that people are commenting on how she doesn't have kids and suggesting that that makes her less qualified to come forward? She's definitely a strong interpreter of the law. She is brilliant, and I know that when the time comes, she will articulate herself ruthlessly. She got so many important people on board in such a short amount of time. She seems compassionate to me and like she asks the right questions. She's a strong leader, and I think that she can do this. I hope that she's successful. She needs to be. I imagine that these whisperings, all too familiar to us right now, echoed through the ancient Israelite camp about Tirzah, Hogla, Milcah, Noah, and Machlah, the 5 daughters of Zelophehad. The longing for change that we feel buzzing around us now in our current cultural and political climate is mirrored in our parsha, where 5 brave daughters challenge the way that things have always been to increase their own standing in Israelite society. Zelophehad, a member of the tribe of Manasseh, dies in the wilderness before the census and before the allocation of property to be held in the land of Israel. Because Zelophehad had 5 unwed daughters and no sons, it became clear that their family would be left out of property ownership entirely. These daughters go before Moses, the elders, and the assembly to contest this. Moses, unsure of how to proceed, brings this decision to God, who says, "What Zelophehad's daughters are saying is right. You must certainly give them property as an inheritance among their father's relatives and give their father's inheritance to them." The rabbis of the Talmud talk about what makes these daughters so unique. They're wise and able to interpret the law well enough to plead their case. Additionally, and even more poignantly, they are wise because they choose to speak in accordance with the moment. The rabbis say that they present their case at an auspicious and particular time. They're righteous, the rabbis say, because they did not rush to marry. They did not settle for the traditional female trajectory in Israelite society, and despite perhaps being called childless cat ladies, they forged their own paths and were allowed their inheritance in Parashat Pinchas. These women, they teach us what it means to be agents of change. Their knowledge and their self-awareness and their interdependence give them the opportunity to bring Israelite society forward. A midrash on these daughters states that they consulted with one another and formed a plan as a team. The ability to rely on those around you instead of just assuming that your own line of thinking is inherently the strongest is, in fact, a particularly female strength. A 2010 study found the proportion of women in an organization or in a group was strongly related to the group's collective intelligence, which is their ability to work together and solve a wide array of problems. Groups with more women exhibited greater equality in conversational turn-taking, further enabling the group members to be responsive to one another and to make the best use of the knowledge and the skills of each person present. The interconnectedness that blossoms today when we lift women up is what laid the path towards a successful outcome for these ancient Israelite daughters. But what we also must recall is that their efforts receive God's blessing. God says that their argument is just. God shows them compassion and love and acknowledgement. But of course, this is so much bigger than the daughters of Tzalafachad. God sees merit in the principle of women having more and doing more. God says that setting this precedent has immense value. I want to tell you about a daydream that I've been having lately. The year is 2042, and my daughter Golda is 18, and she is home visiting us during her freshman year of college. She's taking a class called Seismic Shifts in the American Political Landscape, and we begin talking about the year 2024. She turns to me and she says, "I can't believe that you only had male presidents growing up. That's wild." It was wild, I assure her. In 2024, no, not 2024, that's where we are. In 2042, like all Americans, my daughter is guaranteed 6 months of paid parental leave should she decide to have a child. In 2042, my daughter could live in any state and decide to have an abortion if she needed one. In 2042, women account for roughly 50% of Fortune 500 CEOs. In 2042, my daughter Golda knows that she'll be compensated equally to her peers regardless of her gender. In 2042, the gender-based inequality that we are currently offered is merely a concept to her to be studied in school. That's my daydream. Like the daughters of Tzalafachad, we find ourselves at an auspicious and particular time. As we inch closer toward the election, may we be reminded that, like the daughters of Tzalafachad, this is so much bigger than the people that we have standing in front of us. The principle and the precedent hold immense value. I hope that you will join me in dreaming about what it might be like for my daughter and your daughter, your wife, your mother, your sister, to live in an Eden where women sit at the table in the center of the room and help to solve all of the problems of the universe. There is truly no end to what a woman can achieve. God knows this, and I hope that the American people do too. Can you hear out sound? Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure